Hey YouTube, Kiraqualia here, bringing you guys another one of my Cardfight Vanguard market price watch videos. I wanted to wait until Unite Team Q4 came out before I did another one of these videos and see just how much the new cards affected the basic prices for everything in Vanguard. We've seen a lot of changes, especially with a lot of the cards before the new format, but also we've seen a lot of the new stuff pretty much settle down to what I believe their prices are going to be. So let's go ahead and get started with the video. Starting off, we'll go with the Vanguard Rares from the Unite Team Q4 Booster Pack. The most expensive one is actually Imperial Daughter. You can see we'll go through all four of the Vanguard Rares. They've all pretty much settled to pretty reasonable prices, Imperial Daughter being the most expensive of the four. But what's great about them is that if you invest in a box of Unite Team Q4, a good amount of your value is held with these cards, which are a main focus on a lot of the new decks that came out for that new basic format. You need at least to run Perfect Rise or Alfred, Waterfall, or Imperial Daughter, multiple copies as well in each version of the deck to at least have a fully built competitive version of the deck. You can build other versions with the triple rare cards, but this seems to be the main reason why these cards are holding that value, because they're in constant need. And as long as people want to build these decks, these are the number one options for the grade 3 uses in the decks for the four we've gotten so far. And that's something to take into mind when we get future sets with other Vanguard rares where you guaranteed one per box. But like I said, if you need multiples of these cards to build a deck, that value is going to hold strong for sure. And Imperial Daughter, I think OTT is one of the best decks of the four released so far. It just has consistent hand, consistent power on the field with cards like Imperial Daughter and CEO Marissa as backup. So that's why she's at least at $10 more than the other three you see. But still reasonable prices. Like I said, if you want to build a full version of the deck, it at least involves, a couple $20 each for your main card of the deck. But everything else from the pack seems to be a little easier priced value. Like the most expensive triple rare I could find was Orb Dragon, holding it around the $7 to $8 range for the most part for this card, which isn't too bad. You do need to run a good number of them in the Kagro deck. It has retire power, boost power on its own, draw power if you ride on Vanguard, being that 10k power with the Force clans also does come in handy as well. But like I said, you're guaranteed 3 triples per box as well. So adding these triple rare values is just a bonus to the Vanguard rare values is just, such an investment for a box for sure. Knowing that those values will probably stick around that range and might even go up once we, stop seeing less of the Team Q4 box, which is going to be a staple for a lot of the cards for the four main clans to start off with in this new format. Other triple rares that held some pretty good value have been Soul Saver Dragon. I actually saw this and Berserk drop to like the $2 to $3 range, but they kind of fluctuated since we had a lot of cards go onto the market. But as they settled, people bought, because I'm sure a lot more people thought to just buy the singles instead of buy the boxes. Now we see these prices going up as the numbers dwindle down, on site from all these sites for the prices of these cards. And if you got your cards now, that's great, but we can see these prices change for sure. Either they'll go up, or if they're less needed, see them go down. But it happens with a lot of them, and a good number of these triple rares, if you pull them, you're in that money value basically. Same goes for High Dog Breeder Kane, Airmo for Kagero as well, holding this trend. I think some of them are not as high. I think Silent Tom and Ashura Kaiser are in the $2 range, which still good cards to invest in. They're definitely needed for the decks, but some of these that just need a little bit more for the deck to work, like a Kane calls Pongo builds Soul for Soul Saver Dragon. All those cards run together for the combos to work. Cards you definitely need for the deck. Berserker Dragon helps with the retiring, which is the basis for Kagero. All those cards run together, so their prices will also run together for value. Those are the ones I mostly wanted to talk about. They were the most impacted for the new format. All the other cards are basically a little lower value-wise, but still affordable. Some other cards I want to look at, ESPYs now from the old sets for Vanguard. School Etoile Olivia is still holding as the most expensive SP from all of them now. They have really dropped in price. I think it's just from people either not wanting them as much, people moving on to the new format, people just trying to get rid of their old stuff, so flooding the market. This is actually the lowest I've seen School at Toyo Olivia be for quite a while now. I haven't seen it be the $200 range, like I said, in a good while. So very interesting to see that this is also the most expensive. We see all the other wedding SPs be below Olivia in price. So she was just something I wanted to point out. Involving value so far, which I find quite interesting for sure. If you were looking to get them, beats the $500 range, which I've once seen her at, but I think the average she was at $300. So to see her below that is quite interesting for sure. I only see two on here, but I'm sure this is the basis of what a lot of people will use for pricing Olivia from now on for sure. Some other gen rares I want to point out because I do see a trend forming with them as well. Gen rares that used to be expensive, like Supremacy Black Dragon or Geyser Doom, are now dropping in price, and I think it also kind of relates to premium format coming up upon us, in which you'll be able to mix, the new support with the old support, including Stride format and whatnot. And what's going to hold some pretty strong value is basically we're going to be using cards from Standard in our decks that are new and improved and more powerful. For that standard format, but for premium, mixing in with the Stride units and the new trigger lineups, the new grade 1s, 2s, and 3s, I think what's going to hold the most value are relevant Strides. So we don't really know anything too much about Shadow Paladins yet, whether they're going to be a retire focus, I'm sure, but we're seeing a decrease in a lot of Strides in which we don't have support for quite a while, which is what you can see here from Geyser Doom. This card used to be in the $30 to $40 range when Luard was one of the #1 decks to use at the time. But, as the decks became more relevant, the team leagues were ending, we don't really see much of a need for the card anymore, as, trends with a lot of the different cards for the Shadow Paladin support, and with it, the price goes as well. But if you look at some of the other generation rares we have, like Favored Champ Victor, this card's been holding pretty good value, and this is because, Nova Grappler received support. Nova Grappler got new triggers, new grade 3s, all this new support, which you can use in premium format. But the one thing, like I said, we won't be getting in standard format for premium format are the Strides. So the Strides will be a big part of what you want to hold on to for sure, just for usage and value when premium comes around. And basically the proof is shown with the price of Victor, the price of Dragonic Overlord, the Purge still holding that value, the price of Gancelot Peace Saver, the Royal Paladin Stride, and Stillwater Festival Deity Ichikishima. All these Strides are still holding pretty strong value for their individual worths, and we receive support for all 4 of these clans. So pretty much not coincidence there that these cards would hold the value. So remember this as well when we have upcoming clans as well getting support, if they're going to, go up in value just for that premium format, those Strides to hold on to. That's the trend I'll definitely be seeing. Cards that we won't be receiving in, standard format packs are the cards you want to look out for, definitely. And this, like I said, just holds trend with all of these different cards. A couple other ones that have jumped up in price. Future Knight Lu. Now, with the new rules involving Barkall being able to be used again, Lu being a trigger, not being as strong as some of the new ones we're receiving, still has that great effect to build up Soul. And Soul Saver Dragon's new plus 15 to 6 different units definitely can be benefited from just building up a ton of Soul, whether it be from your new starter with Barkall's effect. If you can get that 10 in Soul and get off its effect twice in one turn, those are immensely powerful columns. And, Lu just helps with the old Flogel or the new, because you can remember that call with the new Flogel with this old ability as well, and call it to rear and use that effect. So you don't have to use stand Flogel anymore in your Royal Paladin decks to make use of with Lu. So a big point there to remember with this critical trigger. So extreme value there. I think it's one of the most expensive cards from the original BT01 set. Other cards dropping, Steam Tamer Arca, the Gear Chronicle trend's kind of ending since the deck won't be as relevant anymore until we have confirmation on, standard format support, whenever we'll get that Gear Chronicle support, which they have promised to us. We just have to wait and see when we get those cards. So we'll see some definite decreases. I've seen the Generation Rare Next Stage in the $8 range. Lowest I've seen Steam Tamer Arca in quite a while for sure. The same follows suit with Protect Orb Dragon. This card was a little more expensive than it has been lately, but we have the new Draw Trigger Perfect Guards as well. Seeing those as the main staple to be used in a lot of different decks for sure. And we also have, probably better countercharge options, for Kagero. If you can take the spot of the Perfect Guard being the Draw Trigger, you would want to obviously use other cards in the Grade 1 lineup to countercharge faster, so we might not have a need for these kind of Perfect Guards later down the road, since we can have better Grade 1 lineups for sure for countercharge. Sun Attorney Amaterasu, same trend as the Strides G Guardians for sure as well. The harder the G Guardians to get and the more relevant they are, like the Oracle Think Tank ones for premium, they're going to have some pretty big values for sure. And we also have some other cards, including Exceptional Expertise, Rising Nova. Now, this is one of the most expensive on-stride Grade 3s that I've seen holding value. We do get Spike Brother support next month, so that'll be pretty interesting to see. And I think people are hoping that Rising Nova will work well, since a lot of the Spike Brother cards we're getting have rearguard effects as well, so you can main Rising Nova for your main Grade 3 for the premium format. I think that'll be very interesting to see for sure how that plays out. Winding down basically with a couple more cards. Solomon, Royal Paladin support with the new Akane and the new Mithril. Mithril, I think, can call Solomon, then Solomon can call another card, which can be Akane, then Akane can call Pongal. Just have many more plays to work with Solomon for sure. So we're seeing some pretty solid value for sure. I think Solomon's actually retained that value for quite a while now, which is nice to see. Laurel Knight Sisyphus, Stride Fodder. If you're running premium format with your Grade 3s, the Stride Fodder definitely does come in handy with, just easy strides. If you don't want to use up your Grade 3s and you want to save your Grade 3s for your imaginary gift rides, that's understandable. You want to use something a little less, important to get off your strides after you use your imaginary gifts. And lastly, for commons, Undulatory Sage Tarna, Grade 3 with Alfred, which is easy now with the new King of Knights. Search your deck for one card with Alfred's card name, ride it as stand, shuffle your deck. Remember, when you ride, it's when you get the imaginary gift, so very, very dangerous for sure with Tarna. I can't wait to see how this plays out in the premium format as well, what they'll end up doing with this card. But that is it for this episode of Market Price Watch. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, a little late with this month's Market Price Watch, but I wanted to see just how much more of these prices would change for the cards, and definitely saw them, ever since this weekend, rise up rapidly compared to what they were. And we'll just see those prices change a lot, especially for the Unite Q4 prices. So definitely pick up those cards if you need them now, and we'll see how those prices go. Until next time, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and Kiraqualia out.